Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Taking Candy from Racist Babies. So, it's been a while. I've been busy, just doing a lot of stuff. Doesn't matter what it is, to be honest with you. But, so I posted this in, if you've been following the season so far, our favorite group with its new name. Same people, basically, a couple new heads, but the same group. And speaking of new heads, this one features a new player, quote unquote. I'm using air quotes. You can't see me, but in the series, it's a little bit further down, but he's funny. He's funny as shit. So, okay. So now, people of color have been against these symbols of literal racism that governments, local governments, as well as the federal government to some extent, put up in various places, mainly in the South, in direct response to people of color, particularly Black people, gaining ground in civil rights, economic empowerment, positions in government, basically the end of slavery and the things that drove it. Like these governments literally created and put up they were mass produced. That's why, you saw many of you who at least pay attention to this stuff. You may have seen the one video where people pull down a statue and it essentially folds like it was made out of aluminum foil, right? These weren't, things that were handcrafted or anything like that. These were mass produced things that were literally designed to, in many instances, intimidate people of color, in terms of, saying, okay, here, we're the government and we're going to put up Confederate flags on the state capitol because Jim Crow ended. You know what I mean? That's one example. Stuff like that. So, the removal of those symbols of traitors, racist traitors, seems to perturb some white folks, right? And again, this is not all encompassing. This is not, indicative of all white people. This is some white folks. Let's just get that crystal clear. I got white people in my family. A good 90% of the white people that I've ever worked with were not of this ilk. None of my white friends are like this. Like, it's a few white people who believe that the removal of these symbols of traitorous racism should be decried, right? They are symbols of the past. And most of these people will bitch and moan and cry and tell, us Black people that we need to get over the past, right? Like they'll literally say, oh, it was the past, get over it, blah, 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 right? So I posted this. And again, I was very crystal clear. I used adjectives like some, right? So now here's the thread. Not everyone who comments in this thread in opposition is, a racist or bigoted or clueless or whatever, right? Like most of these racist babies that I feature in this series. For instance, this brother Greg Hartline, he's a white dude. I don't necessarily agree with a lot of the stuff that he types, in these boards, but at the very least, he comes with, an argument based not on emotion, but logic, right? Reason. He doesn't insult people. Like, it's refreshing, to be honest with you, to debate people like him, right? Because, he's intelligent and he says things that I, almost always disagree with, but at least it is substantive in terms of, the debate that we have. So I just wanted to point that out, give a special shout out to him. So as usual, and Charles Clary is another one. Like this brother is another person who, I might not necessarily agree with all the time, but at least he doesn't, call me, a nigger and like, just the dumb shit that the racists that I feature in this series do. Again, very, very substantive debates I've had with him in other threads that aren't featured in this series. So as usual with the series, just kind of pause as I scroll through, so that you can read it, for yourself. And now here we go. This is where the hilarity kind of starts. This brother, Ron Sontag, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I think I am. He's not, I don't think he's racist. I don't think he's bigoted. I do think he's clueless. But, that isn't necessarily a punishable offense, so to speak, right? But within this thread, he gets punished because he just says some dumb shit throughout it. So again, let's scroll back up. The conversation is about America, right? So now we're going to introduce obfuscation by talking about Muslims from, everywhere else, right? Like this has, like Nolan McFarlane just typed, this has nothing to do with Muslims per se. And the fact that they don't have slaves here in America. So there's that. And George Whitfield, oh my God, this guy is like, words escape me when, I think about how, ignorant he is. Like he's legitimately autistic, like actually autistic. I would assume that he's categorized by some crazy quack as functioning autistic. But as you can see by what he types, doesn't really function too well. So anyway, as we go along now, so here's where a lot of the hilarity is. So Ron is like, I never said USA, I said around the world. Hello, the thread isn't about the rest of the world. It's about America. You know what I'm saying? It's literally about America. Like your attempt is transparently obvious. So there's that. Now, again, it just goes on and on like this, where he just says shit and I translate it for him. So, again, just kind of pay attention. Scroll, pause this video as you scroll through so you can, see what's happening here. So on and so forth. And then now, here's this Jacob guy. And here's where, he's talking about people asking for apologies. Like, again, rewind this video, let me know where you find a single instance of me asking for anyone to apologize at all for anything, right? But that's what they do. They introduce, or attempt anyway, to obfuscate the conversation when it's clear that, a point against racism is being made. A valid, nigh irrefutable point against racism is being made. So now here Jacob is talking about the Irish. Here we go with the myth of the Irish people. There's always this, this racism Olympics that happens when black people say, oh, well, here's some facts about slavery and how its legacy is still felt today. And then here comes some Irish people who are like, but what about my people? All right. So here is the response. This is pretty much the general response you can use, folks, to shut that shit down. Like, Irish people, Italian people, like, they were all, discriminated against by America, right? For a very long time, to be fair. But they also were able to buy houses at some point. They were able to hold positions in government. They were able to, walk into a restaurant and buy a sandwich. They were able to, go to pretty much whatever school they wanted to. The Homestead Act didn't affect them negatively. Like, things like that for hundreds of years before black people got the chance to legally do most of that stuff, right? Like the Civil Rights Act just happened, maybe about 55 or so years ago, maybe 60 years ago, something like that. You know what I mean? And America is hundreds of years old. You know what I mean? So somehow, the notion that a country that openly and in many cases violently discriminated against people of color, just recently cutting that shit out, so should somehow be equal to Irish people who were for more than 100 years able to do things that black people weren't, right? Like there's just no comparison, but they always try. So they always forget about that head start. They really do. So there's that. So now, oh, it looks like he blocked me. This was the guy, this Michael Pezza, whatever. It looks like he blocked me because he was getting tore up in this thread, folks. We'll see if his stuff is still here, if he deleted it. Hopefully he's not smart enough to delete. Oh, he didn't. Okay, good. And it looks like his name is still there. I'm not going to click on it because I don't want to get away from this this thing. But see how, the go-to response from, people like him is to, levy fairly weak sauce ad hominem attacks. Like, it's like children, like legit children. It's hilarious. It's really, really funny. So let's see. Brought up because it's relevant. So, as usual, just kind of, and this Arturo John person, like, my name is Afate, right? But for some reason, they think that rhymes with A40. So they him and the other babies in there that do that, I don't know. I guess they're trying to offend me somehow, I guess. I would assume that that's their intention, but it doesn't work that way. It's actually pretty funny. So it really is like hurting children. You know what I mean? Just so funny. So funny. And then this guy mentions my plastic crack habit, right? Like, forget about the fact that you literally need a little bit of money to be able to buy $600 robots, right? Like, he mentions it as if somehow having enough disposable income to buy, things like this is a bad thing. Like, it makes no sense. And then this guy where racism is the figment of your imagination. That is just like, white people be bugging me out with this shit. Like, some of y'all be saying the most ridiculous things, man. It's just so funny. So, and then now it's, meme time, right? So, and then here, this guy's like, oh, these bozos, which is misspelled anyway, think they can use their big words, blah, 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 Oh, intellect scares them. Like they're, oh, you college educated uppity liberals. I'm a registered independent, by the way, but it's just so funny. So funny. If you have to brag about I don't brag about my income. I just tell you how much I make so that you would shut the fuck up about trying to say that, it's just, it doesn't really, in all honesty, I know that this series is meaningless, like in the grand scheme of things, it's fairly meaningless, but in between things that are actually important, I kind of like to like bullshit and have fun with these folks. So this is what I do when I'm not really doing anything else at the time. I just do this, and it's just really, really funny. So here comes, this part. So this guy's just like, oh, da 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 da, you just, yeah. They just go on and on and on. He lets you have the boy toy. He lets you for free. Yo. He's typing shit like 14-year-old children type. Like, what the fuck, yo? Like, yo. This shit is funny. You know what I mean? It's hilarious. Hilarious. And then here's this guy, George, again. This step and fetch it nigga. Like, he's really just like Uncle Ruckus. Like, for real. Like an autistic Uncle Ruckus. Yeah, so as usual, just, pause as you keep going through. You know what I'm saying? Like they're like, oh, you're on welfare. You're looking for handouts. Da da da. Like, your family is all of you are poor and blah 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 blah. Like, my cousin trade, like he has Lamborghinis, $300,000 Lamborghinis that he just plays with, once in a while. Like, my other cousin owns a multi-million-dollar business. Like, my wife's mother and father both made $200,000 per year. Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like these people. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just crazy. It's funny. Like, the preconceived notions that they move with are just hilarious. It's very, very funny. And then this guy, A40, and his little bish, like, you're fucking 12 years old, dude. Stop. I can't take it. My sides are like legit splitting from this nonsense. Like, it's just too funny to me. So, keep going. And then he's like, oh, web developers don't make 100K. It's not even close. Oh, really? Okay. So, right. And these are 2017 numbers. Like, that's average. I can imagine, like, if I had said, okay, this is, if it said this was the highest amount that, a web developer makes, like, no, this is average. Like, in the New York City metro area where I live, and work. Like, fuck is you talking about, dude? So funny. So funny. So, anyway. Oh, yeah. And so then, I predicted that he would say something cognitively dissonant. And he did. But then he removed it. He deleted it. So I had to put that edit in there so people wouldn't think and then this is funny. Like, I don't need to fact check with Google Yosemite. I don't need to fact check Yosemite. This This group is funny. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I find this shit hilarious, right? Because again, these people are legitimately powerless, right? Like none of them are judges in my town or police officers where I live or work or, you know, anything like that. They don't teach my kids, like, you know what I mean? They hold no power whatsoever over me. So it's just really, really funny to me. So yeah, Simeon. Oh, and then this George nigga, like, oh man. I would imagine when he talks, right? Given the way he types, I would assume that he has like the most ridiculous southern drawl, you know what I mean? When he talk like this right here, and probably don't even finish his sentences when you know what I mean? Probably, you know what I'm saying? You know, tutor, well, if I need it, it would come out of your pocket, not from an EBT card like your kind pay. Or maybe actually, maybe he sounds more like, oh, Annam, running out of commercial quotations, huh? Sorry there, Annam, but I take FDA approved, not monkey feet or some chicken bone spell there. Ha ha, Uncle Ruckus. Oh, I'm gonna pee on myself. Oh, shit. Oh, man. And then this guy with this overweight, yo, not for nothing. I'm not even gonna lie, and I know my brother Nolan is probably gonna see this video at some point, but he got this, that shit was funny. Like he got this one off. Overweight white woman, severely lack. That was funny. That was legit funny. I gotta give him that one. I gotta give him props on that one. And then here's my sister Jessica, right? Like she's one of the woke white people. Like she's one of the people who, you know, who quote unquote gets it. You know what I mean? And then this guy comments with this meme like, yo, these people are funny as shit, yo. Hilarious. Very, very funny to me. So yeah, we're going to keep going through. And again, ladies and gentlemen, please pause. Share the shit out of this. You know what I mean? If only to, you know, ridicule it and make fun and say, look at what this stupid guy is doing. Like, just share it. Just, you know? So here we go. Yeah, Chimpy. 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 That's funny. That is funny as shit. Oh, man. He's way too important. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me go back here. I didn't even read this shit that he typed. These are the new comments in the thread. Let's see. Right. Yeah, he admits he's a troll. You know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. He has an overwhelming arsenal. No, he doesn't. Because I just exposed him as in like unable to fact check. Like literally, like he was like, yo, web developers don't make $100,000. And I'm like, all right, here's the average salary for web developers. And it's over 100,000. You know what I mean? In the New York City area. I don't know where he lives. Probably where he lives, it's not, you know, that much. But here in New York City, you as a web developer, if you're not making at least $90,000 as a senior level web developer, something's wrong. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Anyway. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not even gonna respond to the rest of this shit. He's tired of white people feeling guilty. See how he tells on himself? The white guilt. Like, he's literally telling on himself throughout this whole thread. It's funny as shit, y'all. So, again, people, if you can join this group on Facebook, feel free to chime in. It's called I'm So Sorry for My Whiteness. And it is funny as fuck, yo. It is literally one of the most hilarious groups I am in on Facebook. By far. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen.